batter up, play ball. This time we're going to take a look at baseball paperbacks and other sports paperbacks, vintage era books. Hi, I'm Gary Lavisi, and we're going to take a look at some baseball stuff because baseball's coming back next week, and we're going to look at some vintage era baseball paperbacks, golf, football, and some other items that paperback items that really cool that have to do with sports. So here's a whole bunch of pile of stuff, really cool books. We're gonna go through them. They're all different kinds of items. Anybody interested in vintage baseball books? Paperback Parade number 68. This came out a few years ago. This issue has an article by me that details all of the, as many as I could, of vintage paperback books that have to do with baseball from the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. And they're in this issue. And the article details information about the books. But we're just going to take a look at some of them now. So without further ado, I'm going to try and get these organized so that I can show you. They're all different kind of books. We're going to start off with actually the New York Yankees Armed Service Edition from the 1940s. These were given out to troops during the war. They read them in the foxholes in Europe and in the Pacific. A few more. There were quite a few actually baseball books in the Armed Service Edition series. Number J277, Lou Gehrig, famous, another famous Yankee. Not a great copy, but this is a tough book to find. Interesting thing is you'll see that of course, on the Armed Service editions, they always showed the original hardcover edition, and in that edition, there's a the cover photo has Lou Gehrig, and he's in his Columbia University baseball jersey. That's who he used to play for before he went to the Yankees. So, you got New York Yankees, Lou Gehrig, and The Game They Played, Story of Baseball Greats by Harry Grayson, another book, Armed Service Edition baseball book. Now, there's a lot of really great books in the Armed Service Edition series, and there's some great baseball books as well. Actually, what I'm going to do is put these like this, and then we'll try to go through some of them. Some of the other books that I have. Book Company of America was a outfit in the 60s in California. They published It Pays to Steal by Maury Wills. Maury Wills was I believe he was a Dodger, but he was a great base stealer, fast like lightning, and he stole bases, and sometimes he would go from first to second, second to third, and third to home. He was just like, he was incredible. Pitching to Win by Hal Newhouser, Detroit Tiger. This is in 1948. This is his guide to pitching from Ziff Davis, the Little Sports Library. This is a little hardcover, actually. Some of these books are little hardcovers. Some of them are regular paperbacks. Some of them are put out by the Sporting News and other sporting newspapers. Ready Reckoner of Team Standings. This is a PBO from 1963, put out by the Sporting News, which was a sporting newspaper. And this has, it's got, among other things, Mickey Mantles inside, and it has information about different sports and how to reckon them. Avon Digest, Jackie Robinson, My Own Story, with a foreword by Branch Rickey. It's a tough digest to find. It's an Avon book. Dell Books put out a lot of these books of Major League, what they call Major League Baseball, This is one from 1947 with Stan Musial on the cover. And these basically were books that had little bios and photos on baseball heroes of the day. This is from 1947, and then they had loads of statistics and facts and figures about their playing. And there's a few of these. They have really nice cover art, painted covers, and of all the stars of the day. This one has Stan Musial on the front, and they always have on the back cover also. This back cover has Sophie Curry's, who was in the Girls Baseball League in 1947. One of the women that was highlighted in A League of Their Own. Babe Ruth's Big Book of Baseball, and this is the 1935 edition. This was a Quaker Oats giveaway from 1935. Actually, when I think Babe Ruth was still playing at that time. This is 1956 Baseball Handbook and Schedules. It's a tall, slim book, and it has all players, information about players. Cool book. It's got the 1955 World Champion Brooklyn Dodgers. And this was a giveaway, RH Radio in Leona, New Jersey. So this was a kind of a thing that stores and businesses would give out at the beginning of the baseball season, 1956, to customers. Say, like, here's information on the new season, some of the players, and where you can listen to the games. Baseball Digest is a famous magazine, digest magazine that is well known. This is the April 1959 issue. It has Ernie Banks on the cover. Ernie Banks was the Chicago Cubs shortstop, and he was a great player. I mean, he was one of the guys that I loved when I was a kid. He was playing, and he was so exciting. Small guy, shortstop, but a home run hitter. He was terrific. And on the back cover is one of the Albie Pearson, Washington Senators player. This is a 1934 Kellogg Sports Library about baseball. Little slim paperback, and it's from 1934. And you can see here's the ad for Kellogg's Corn Flakes, which we were going to have later.
I can't really see it.
And
don't you move it, I'll move mine.
Oh, okay. It has the ad on the back cover for Kellogg's Corn Flakes and other Kellogg's, but it's got a great cover. Another Major League Baseball, Dell, 1953. This one shows Robin Roberts on the cover, and on the back cover it shows a new guy that's kind of made a splash in 1953, Yankee, Mickey Mantle. This is his rookie year, and they're wondering, baseball's future great? You know, beautiful artwork of Mickey Mantle on the back. They should have put him on the cover. Don't know why they didn't. Major League Baseball, they did these each year. They were, again, as they say, concentrated on the heroes and the popular players, with photos and bios, but lots and lots of statistics and facts. This one from 1950, they had them each year they came out. Dell published them, and this one has Joe Page, famous pitcher. And on the back cover, they always had great pictures on the back cover. This one didn't. doesn't have anything. (1945) Major League Baseball has Martin Marion, Player of the Year. Nothing on the back cover. I don't know why they didn't do back covers at that time. In the 50s, they put photos and players on the back cover, but in the 40s they didn't. This is Major League Baseball, also from Dell, 1944, and has Stan Musial. Actually, they call him Stanley Musial. From the he was always on the St. Louis Cardinals. Yes, he's in the St. Louis Cardinals hat there too. That's 44. 1946 is Harold Neuhauser. And on the back, they had Connie Wyshynski, Player of the Year, 1945, the All-American Girls Baseball League. So here's, again, one of the women that was in a league all their own. On the back cover, women's baseball. Satchel Paige was a player who pitched. He started out in the Negro Leagues and pitched for a long time, many years, and nobody kind of knew how old he was. This is his story, Satchel Paige's own story, Pitchin' Man. And he pitched for a long time. Nobody knew how old he was. Sometimes they said he was into his 50s when he was still pitching. He still had a great arm. Started out in the Negro Leagues and kind of went through that period of time, and then actually was pitching in the when the leagues were integrated after Jackie Robinson started playing for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Then eventually, like a little soon afterwards, Satchel Paige went on one of the major league teams. I guess this is the Cleveland Indians. Another major league. Reds.
Looks like the C from Cincinnati. That's Cleveland. C?
Could be Cleveland or Cincinnati. I'm not sure what team he played on. I think he played on a few teams. He played for a long time. They think into his 50s. Yeah. Another Major League Baseball from 1943, and this is during the war years. And Ted Williams is on the cover from 1943. Ted Williams, the Boston Red Sox, who was a terrific, great player. Interesting thing is that, and then the back cover they had an ad, and it's ammunition for the home front. Was this ad for this Horlicks quick energy building? Take a package home. I guess it's some kind of a drink. That at that time I don't recall anything about it. The interesting thing about, of course, Ted Williams was that in 42 or 43, I guess it's 43, he went into the Army. His last year, this is probably his last year as the Boston Red Sox before the war, hit over 400. Then he went into the war. He was a fighter pilot in World War II, and I believe for 2 or 3 years. Then when he came back after the war, in I guess 46, he hit 400 again as a batting average. He's an incredible player. He lost 3 years during the war that he could have had probably been a 400 hitter, because he hit 400 batting average before he went into the military, and 3 years later when he came out of the military, 400 batting average. I think he's one of the last 400 hitters, and it's an incredible accomplishment. Next one is 1942. Again, Dell magazines, and again on the cover is Ted Williams, Player of the Year for 1941. And the back cover has an ad for Old Gold cigarettes. Major League Baseball from 1952. Another Stan Musial cover. He was the Player of the Year in 1951. The next one is one close to my heart, Major League Baseball from 1951, and it has Yankee Phil Rizzuto on the cover. Major League Baseball 1949, these are all Dell magazines, has Lou Bordeaux as the Player of the Year of 1948, and he was a Cleveland Indian. There's great covers in these Dell magazines. They did one each year. They're beautiful, really cool. Major League Baseball from 1948. And again, Ted Williams, Player of the Year 1947. So when he came back from the war, he was the Player of the Year again. It's amazing. His power and his skill, and he was such an accomplished guy. He was a fighter pilot in World War II, and he was a fighter pilot years later in Korea. So he fought for his country, and he was a great baseball player. And this also has Doris Sams, Player of the Year from 1947, for the All-American Girls Baseball League, Women in Baseball.
She was a pitcher, right?
Huh?
She was a pitcher. Right?
Yeah. And again, this is one of the women that the movie A League of Its Own was based on. Next one is Books Incorporated. This is a trade paperback, Mel Martin Baseball Stories, The Phantom Homer by John B. Cooper. There's quite a few of these Books Incorporated from the 40s and 50s. This is a story and a novel. There's a lot of books in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, baseball books for young boys and for teenagers. A lot of teenage fiction in those days. Really cool stuff, and this is one of those books. Two interesting books are Who's Who in the Major League, and this is the 12th and 13th edition. Has some of the players on the covers. This is another kind of like what Dell did. It has brief bios on the players and photos, and then lots and lots of stats and facts and figures and about the game and about the different games and the playoffs and World Series. Also has team photos on the back. New York Yankees, 1943 World Champions. And on the back here, St. Louis Cardinals, 1944 World Champions, team photos. And it's just like, great guys on these teams, on both of these teams. Just to see, on the Yankees team, it has Frank Crocetti, Joe McCarthy was the manager. And there's just a lot of other players. Bill Dickey, a lot of good players. This isn't the 40s wasn't a great time for baseball because a lot of the guys were in the armed services. Next, we're going to take a sidetrack because I had some football books, and I want to show those also because I think they're really cool. And these are kind of this is kind of like this is Playing the Line by Bulldog Turner. This is a Ziff Davis book from 1948, and it's a tell-all book about how he plays football and tells you how to play football. And you can see like the uniforms in those days, 1948, the helmet. I mean, it's like unbelievable. No face guard or anything. It's amazing. No, not really much padding. Those guys really really were. That was tough fighting in those days. This is the same book in hardcover, The Little Sports Library. So these books were published in hardcover and paperback by Ziff Davis at 50 cents and $1.25. Similar books, but one's a hardcover and one's a paperback. Grantland Rice's Football Guide. This is from 1948, and this is a guide on how to play football. And it's by City Service, which became Citgo. Published this in 1948, and it was a giveaway. And it had football information, facts and figures in it that they gave to customers who came into City Service gas stations to buy gas, and that was Citgo in those days. I already mentioned about how Dell did the baseball books each year. They did one on professional football also. One that I have is from 1948, and it has Doak Walker, All-American halfback from Southern Methodist University, on the cover. And on the back cover is Otis, Otto Graham, quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. And this is from 1948. Some of the football stuff is somewhat more scarce than the baseball, and not as many books. There's a lot of baseball books. Baseball is very popular. It's the American game. Next is a Backfield Play by Charles Trippi. The Stars Tricks for Winning Football Games. It's a 50-cent book published by Ziff Davis, number 14 in their series. Digest size paperback. And I'm going to move these up out of the way for now, and we'll look at some others. Now we're going to go from football to golf. Yeah, we're going to go to golf. Ben Hogan, Power Golf. Pocketbook 928 from 1953. Ben Hogan was a very popular golfer. My wife might know something about his expertise. Can you mention anything about him? You know?
You're thinking of Walter Hagen.
Walter Hagen, that's right. Walter Hagen is the character. Yeah, okay. So it's not as well as Ben Hogan. But Ben Hogan was a great golfer.
Well, Ben Hogan was a great golfer.
Classic golfer.
Walter Hagen was great at the mind game aspect of golf.
I was confused those two for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
Next one is Dell 774, and it's Sam Snead's Natural Golf. And Sam Snead was another. He had his trademark hat. He always wore that hat. He was a famous golfer. One of the greats. This has all illustrations about how to hold the club, how to swing. Golf is a fascinating game. It could drive you crazy, but it is terrific. Here's the back cover, and the back cover of the Ben Hogan book. Okay. Next book is Golfer's Gold. An insider's view of pro golf and pro golfers. Palmer, Nicholas, Player, Snead, Venturi, and many others by Tony Lemma. And this is a pocketbook from it's a gold spine pocket, so it's probably from the later 50s or early 60s.
And you might want to mention if anyone's in the New York, New Jersey area, if they ever want to go to the PGA Museum in New Jersey.
There's the PGA Golf Museum on...
we could put the information in the description of where it is.
Which is in New Jersey, which is amazing. It has like so much great golf material, trophies and all kinds of memorabilia
Great
and
histories.
Books, everything. We'll put that in the description.
But the best part.
And the best part is the driving.
Putting green.
The
putting green.
The putting green that's behind the museum, which is a 18-hole putting green, which is just amazing, and it's great to play.
It's based on like St. Andrews, basically.
Based on St. Andrews.
And you use vintage
clubs.
Like you can use Calamity Jane, and you can use
Mashie Niblicks, and all of the various golf
and things like that. Like
and you can use the wooden clubs,
right?
Of the old days, and you can use those to play around of 18 holes on a putting green that's big. It's not like a what do you call it?
It's not like a miniature golf course, like with windmills and stuff. It's like a real golf course.
And the greens, the greens are a little bigger, so you have this more room, and you really feel like you're playing on a real course, and it's amazing. But that'll be in the description. We'll give directions on where that is. So if you are in the ever in the New Jersey area,
and I don't play golf, but I love to go and do that.
Yeah. Well, we did it a couple of times, and we loved it. But if you're in the New Jersey area, it's right off the highway of is it 287?
It's on 287.
Yeah, so it's right there, and we'll give you information about it. You got to check it out if you're in the New Jersey area and love golf. You got to know about that. Back to the books. We have a Crest book, 709, The Education of a Golfer, and this is by Sam Snead. Sam Snead here, Sam Snead, and his back cover has a illustration of Sam Snead wearing his trademark hat again. Great golfer gives his inside information, and there's his hat also, inside information on how to be a great golfer. Pocketbook 75-152 is Esquire's World of Golf, What Every Golfer Must Know by Herb Graftis, and prefaces by Tommy Armour and Sam Snead also, who gave a preface to this book. What Every Golfer Should Know, The World of Golf. The next book is Dell 0302, probably from the late 60s, early 70s. It's The Arnold Palmer Method by Arnold Palmer, golfing's greatest storytellers in word and picture, how to dramatically improve every phase of your game. Arnold Palmer. The Arnold Palmer Method. And the thing about all of these books is that golf is a crazy sport where people try their best to improve the game, and it's really hard. But sometimes little things sometimes can make a big difference, and in that way, people are always trying to improve their score. And there's a lot of books out by famous golfers that give inside information and tips how to improve your game. 2 gold medal paperbacks from the late 50s or early 60s, The Best Way to Better Golf, and it's by Jack Nicklaus, who was one of the famous Nicholas, who was one of the famous greatest names in golf, and 2 books in the gold medal series by him. about how to play golf. And the back covers. They're illustrated with all kinds of tips, heavily illustrated. Very nice. All kinds of tips. How to swing, how to putt, how to drive. There's ads in them for Golf Digest. Just really, really nice books. Now, what we're going to look at are a couple of books. Lion Library. Lion Books started in 1949 and ran for 233 editions. And during that time and afterwards, they became Lion Library. And Lion Library published some baseball books. And Lion Library 74 published The Baseball Stars in 1956 by Bruce Jacobs. And it has a Brooklyn Dodger on the cover, but I don't know who he is. And they also published Baseball Stars in 1957 by Bruce Jacobs. And has a baseball star on the cover. Everybody knows who he is, and that's Mickey Mantle, New York Yankee. And
that was Brooklyn. Maybe that's probably Gil Hodges.
Maybe, could be. Mantle, Aaron, Larson, Magley, Ernie Banks, other stars were listed in these books, shown in these books. Just really nice cover art of great players. The Sport Magazine Library had a series of at least 11 or 12 books. I think I have most of them here. I may be missing one. They did books that were stories of great baseball and sports players, and by all great sports writers. They had photo covers. They're really nice. They're really cool group of books. One of them, number 5, in no particular order, number 5 is Mickey Mantle, the Indispensable Yankee, and it's his life story, Mickey Mantle. And great photo. And on the back cover, they had other books in the series: Stan Musial, Ted Williams, Baseball Managers, which we'll start showing. So that's number 5, Mickey Mantle. Number 11 is Roger Maris, Home Run Hero by Leonard Schechter. Oh, and this is by Dick Schaap, the award-winning sports journalist. And Roger Maris, Home Run Hero is number 11, and it's by Leonard Schechter. And again, it's an original life story of his baseball heroes. Two guys who, 1961, fought to break Babe Ruth's record, and Roger Maris did it. Next one is number 6 in the series is Willie Mays, The Say Hey Kid by Arnold Hanno. And Willie Mays, great San Francisco Giant. Arnold Hanno was the editor of, was one of the editors of Lion Books, and he wrote quite a few books. He wrote some westerns for Signet Books, but he was Jim Thompson's editor for a while, and he wrote this as a baseball fan, Willie May, The Say Hey Kid. Number 2 in the series is Stan the Man Musial by Irv Goldman. So far we're talking baseball in this Sports Magazine Library series, but they started off with book number 1,
It looks like it could have been Stan Musial's picture on that book.
This is
Now that I
Stan
see his
Musial.
face. On the one that I thought was Gil Hodges, where you said you don't know who it is?
Yeah. Well, no, because it wouldn't be. Stan Musial was always on the St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh, that looks like a B on his.
Yeah. And that was a B.
Looks like. Oh no, it doesn't look like his.
Yeah.
Looks like his mouth.
Yeah.
Sorry, never mind.
Okay. Yeah, where was I? Sports Magazine Library number 1. So
Why did you have it in order?
this book, why would I do that? Is the amazing success story of the guy they called Mr. Quarterback, Johnny Unitas. He was dropped from the Pittsburgh Steelers and ended up on the Baltimore Colts. It's number 1 by Ed Fitzgerald. Johnny Unitas, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever.
Baltimore Colts? Are they
Baltimore
still
Colts.
the Baltimore Colts?
Baltimore Colts, yeah.
They're still the Colts. Are they Baltimore?
I'm not sure. He was on the Baltimore Colts at that time.
Looks like,
Yeah. He was a great quarterback. They were a great team. Sports Magazine Library number 9, and these are published by Bartholomew House or Bart House Books. Number 9 is Warren Spahn, The Immortal Southpaw by Al Silverman. Warren Spahn was a Milwaukee Braves pitcher. He was the pitcher on the team with Hank Aaron and Eddie Matthews, and I used to watch them guys. They were great. Warren Spahn was an unbelievable pitcher. He pitched for like 20 years, and he was like almost like Whitey Ford. He was an iron horse, always reliable pitcher, always going in. I mean, he was had a great career, terrific pitcher.
I'm guessing they didn't keep him to a 100 pitch count.
Yeah, not like today, huh? Book number 7, now we're getting to boxing. Floyd Patterson, The Heavyweight King by Jack Newcomb. Jack Newcomb, famous sports journalist. This one has a little clip at the corner, but beautiful picture of Floyd Patterson. And now we get down to number 3 in the series, and it's Ted Williams, The Eternal Kid by Ed Lynn, the Boston Red Sox. I'm a Yankee fan. Yankee fans hate the Boston Red Sox, but there's nobody who has more respect than Yankees fans for Ted Williams. I mean, this man was incredible. He was just incredible. Book number 4 in this series is Baseball's Best Managers by Harold Rosenthal, and it's got Yankee manager Casey Stengel. He gets top billing here. Charlie Dressen, Leo DeRocher, Danny Murtaugh, but baseball's greatest managers. Then they did an extra, and the extra is Heroes of Sport, edited by Ed Fitzgerald, and this one has Mickey Mantle on the cover, Johnny Unitas, and Bob Cousy, and original life stories of Ted Williams, Archie Moore, Pancho Gonzalez, Sam Snead, Stan Musial, Nellie Fox, Yogi Berra, Anthony Rocca, Willie Mays, Eddie Arcaro, and Ingmar Johansson. So they've got guys from all the different sports, and articles by sports writers, and it was edited by Ed Fitzgerald. And last but not least, in the Sport Library series number 10, Football's Greatest Quarterbacks. And this one has stories of about 10 or 12 of the greatest life stories of the quarterbacks in football by Booth and Herndon. And back cover again shows you back covers of these just advertise other books in the series. Nice series of books that they published. Heroes of Sports and Great Quarterbacks and Baseball Managers, and all of the books that deal with the different players in the game. It's nice to. These are kind of like almost historical documents now. They're so kind of scarce or uncommon, and some great baseball history and memories wrapped up in these stories about these various baseball players, managers, football players, golfers. It's just some cool stuff, fun stuff. The other thing, there are flip books that have to do with sports, and this one has to do with Bobby Jones. This is Flickr number 11A. I don't know what date it's from. You know what day? What date? This is pretty old. Yeah, I don't think it says. But the thing is with the flip books is, so Bobby Jones was like the greatest golfer ever, and he was an amateur, and they wanted him to go professional, but he wouldn't do it. He did the
Grand Slam.
Grand Slam.
Never before, never since.
Never before achieved, and never since. And these Flickr books.
Is all four. He won all four Opens in 1 year.
In 1 year, yeah.
Both amateur and the pro.
Yeah, and so these Flickr books, you just you move the pages. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, just keep going.
So they give you the illusion of movement.
And it's double-sided.
And then on the other side.
Just flip it. Keep flipping. Yeah, there you go. Looks like an old black and white movie.
Yeah, it's so kind of hard to do. So that's Bobby Jones, basically the greatest golfer ever. And Pocket Cinema, this is from 1969, is a Babe Ruth Flickr book. And we'll look at that now. Here's the Babe. We'll go again.
Can
you see it? It's hard to kind of show, but
cool.
they're cool. Next one is, this is from the, probably from like 1991. And this is Mickey Mantle, switch hitter.
I think those you hold it forward and you flip it the other way. So you hold it right and you flip it down, I believe.
Okay. And it's on both sides. Mickey Mantle. The other one is another great guy, which we haven't looked at, soccer, and Pele, who his famous bicycle kick and his soccer dribble, and his Pele, and this is from 1991 also.
Right through two guys'
legs.
Right
through two guys' legs. Unbelievable. He was totally amazing. And there's one on the other side.
Overhead score.
Overhead score. He moves so fast. Even in the flickers, they can't. Even in the flickers, they can't
keep up with
can't
Pele.
keep up with Pele. Sports paperbacks are really cool. I used to read these when I was a kid. Read books about Mickey Mantle and baseball heroes and some of the football heroes and stuff, and some of these books. But I've been picking them up over the years because it kind of brings me back to my youth. And then I pick up the earlier ones from the 40s and 50s that you know, before my time, because those were, you know, when the legends were created and when the legendary players and heroes played the game. Baseball, football, golf, all different sports. Seems like a different thing, different kind of world back then. And the sports heroes were more heroic and seemed to enjoy the game a lot and really had a lot of heart and fought like crazy to play the game. But with baseball coming back on July 23rd, just wanted to do this little kind of look at sports in paperback books and in digest magazines. Some things maybe you've not seen, some things that maybe you'll wake up a memory or something from your youth, or a famous player like the Johnny Unitas. I remember the Johnny Unitas book. You know, I remember watching him play on TV when I was a kid, and he was, you know, quarterback. Man, he was like unbelievable. And some of those old players, you know, Eddie Matthew, Hank Aaron on the Braves, and Warren Spahn pitching. I wasn't even a Braves fan, but just to watch those guys play, it was like magnificent. And Ted Williams and Stan the Man Musial, you know, they're all like they have a lot of fond memories. One of my friends, Ricky, when I grew up, was a big St. Louis Cardinals fan, and he always loved Stan the Man Musial. And I said, "Who the hell's Stan the Man Musial? Come on, the Yankees are better." And I said, you know what? He's right. This guy Stan the Man Musial is really good, because we would always collect baseball cards, and we'd look at the guys and statistics on the back of the baseball cards, and the football cards too, and basketball cards, and all of that. And you look at the stats, and you say, like, wow, this guy really is good. Ted Williams, oh my God, 400, over 400. Then he went into the military for 3 years, came back and hit 400 again. It's like, you know, guys can't even today. If you hit 250 or 260, it's like really good. But he was hitting like over 400. I mean, it was just like, it's just a different era, different thing. But sports is cool. Baseball's coming back on July 23rd, and other sports, football and basketball, hockey, soccer, badminton, who knows what is going to be coming back, and it's going to be great. Sports is great. It's fun, and it's going to be really cool. So I hope you like this look at the sports paperbacks and baseball paperbacks. And if you did, give us a like and a thumbs up, and send this link to your friends if they like sports books or sports. And the same thing with some of the other videos that we've done. Send a link to other people. So until then, just want to say thanks for looking, and I'll see you next time.